19 states have legalized recreational cannabis use, and also almost 40 states have cleared it for medical use. Yet it still carries a stigma. Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver Calvin Johnson and former offensive lineman Rob Sims are trying to change that. They were teammates of mine with the Detroit Lions. They launched their own cannabis brand to help educate and promote wellness. At this cannabis grow facility, 1 hour outside of Detroit, retired NFL stars Calvin Johnson and Rob Sims are trying to help erase the stigma of cannabis use. Primitiv, their cannabis company, is in the early stages of their partnership with Harvard University to help study the causes and effects of the traumatic brain injury known as CTE and help those suffering from chronic pain. So as we were sitting in the locker room back in Detroit, would you have thought that you guys would be the leaders of a cannabis brand?
I wasn't thinking about cannabis when I was in the locker room. It was not even on the horizon. They don't know the healing powers of the plant.
Both Johnson and Sims view cannabis as a healing agent, and they see their company and its product as a potential alternative to opioid pain medications, which have been abused in the U.S. for years. According to figures released by the CDC, last year, drug overdose deaths topped 100,000 for the first time in American history, and more than 3/4 of those overdose deaths were from opioids.
Cannabis is not only a potential treatment for chronic pain, it's a very effective treatment for chronic pain that millions of people are currently employing. There are millions of people that are using it for chronic pain, and they're reporting an improved quality of life over opiates.
I remember having doctors prescribe me like Vicodin. I remember the directions saying, take when you have pain. But here I am, a football player who's torn my pec, and I just thought it wasn't good for me to sit at home and pop pills.
I initially started using cannabis in college, but really didn't become a frequent user until I got into the NFL when the injuries started to pile up. And that was really what it was for. I mean, it helped with the sleep, but really just to overall improve my quality of life. I had to be there for whether it was my family, my teammates, and the weight that we have to carry, and to be able to compartmentalize, it was something that helped me, be able to de-stress.
The NFL seems to be listening. Earlier this year, the league donated $500,000 to UC San Diego's Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research to study whether the plant can be used to help athletes manage pain. Why do you believe cannabis can be a great form of healing?
For me personally, I've dealt with opioids, and for me, just a sense of balance is just off. I try to stay away from anything synthetic.
They dry for about 10 days or so.
And cannabis is a natural substance.
When it comes to the NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, across all the sports, really, there have been a lot of athletes coming out and being very honest about their cannabis use. Why do you believe that is?
I just think it's a new day, right? Cannabis has become legal in these different, states, and it's progressing to the rest of the country. The conversation has begun to change, and it's become more acceptable. I think all athletes see it as an avenue for an alternative healing other than opioids.
Most of America's top sports leagues have relaxed their cannabis restrictions. The NFL still tests, but you won't be suspended, only fined. Several former players and athletes, have been operating in this space, including ex-NFL running back Ricky Williams, retired NBA players Al Harrington and John Sally.